on, and this is called the interfaith delusion, is what I call it. Now, I'm going to jump the gun here, and I brought a couple books here. Well, I'll just use this book for now. This is called Interfaith Dialogue, a guide for Muslims, and it's written by Muhammad Shafiq and Muhammad Abu Nimr. And what's important to understand is they're very closely tied with the Muslim Brotherhood in America. So here you see, this book is put out by the International Institute of Islamic Thought, the IIIT, which is the Muslim Brotherhood, okay? And so I started reading this, and I started kind of realizing that it says certain things that really surprised me, and I put a brief together to kind of address this, because if you're in America, you're saying, when Pope Benedict came over to the United States in 2008, he was giving speeches that attacked the OIC. But then the American bishops completely undermined him, so that when he went to some interfaith forum, every person that the American bishops had the Pope meet were all Brotherhood players. So what's going on here? And you'll find that it's kind of a lot worse right now, because it seems like the current Pope is in that situation. This interfaith thing is about all major denominations. In America, we could basically show that every major denomination has joined into the interfaith movement, and that the Brotherhood has chosen the interfaith movement as a point of penetration.
Also the Jews?
Huh?
Jews also?
Some major denominations, yes. Yes. It would be true that not every Protestant or Catholic group has bought into this, where you could show certain key leadership elements have. Enough that you could show that there's total penetration within any group, if that makes sense. But the thing that this brief will do is it will try to show you that there is to understand how they can penetrate through the interfaith movement, you kind of have to know what the interfaith movement is. And I'll let Elizabeth give some detail, but here's somebody that I'm being told he's an unknown person in Austria and in Europe, and there's a reason why. He's an American, okay? But his name is Saul Alinsky. Who here has never heard of Saul Alinsky? You've heard of him?
Well, Americans have. Europeans.
Okay, Saul Alinsky
No.
is a major left-wing player. You could say, are you familiar with something called the Frankfurt School?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you could say he was knee-deep in the Frankfurt School. You could say he is a cultural Marxist. But he is the cultural Marxist in America. So when you hear people talk about community organizing, that's code language for Alinskyism. When you hear the word dialogue come up, well, there's one sense in which people dialogue. But when you hear it come up in certain programs, dialogue starts to take on a specific programmatic meaning. And here's the thing. Hillary Clinton wrote her thesis on Saul Alinsky. And Barack Obama used to teach him. And so I would argue that from a European point of view, to understand the operating system of the left in America, you kind of have to get your hands on this and who those players are. And I'll let her read a little point here, because he did dedicate his book. He did make a dedication to his book, and I'll have her read it in German. But I'll do this.
I'll read it. I'll try to translate it. I'm not sure I can.
Oh, shit. Read it in English.
You want me to read it in English? Well, lest we forget at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical. From all our legends, mythology, and history, and who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which, the first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer. So he dedicated his book to Lucifer.
So, I mean, if you want to take that as a dedication, what it means that the left would rather be ruler in hell than subject in heaven. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. But I think there are certain key trends that come out of this book that define the left wing in America. And because I'm talking about interfaith from that perspective, it'd be good to just kind of ting that in. I personally have no doubt that Soros is a major player in American politics through Alinskyism. And there's a couple key points to Alinskyism. One is it's to reduce all thinking to meaninglessness. Okay? And I'll give an explanation here. The second thing is to take tried, I'll say, sacred terms in the public space, in the religious space, take iconic terms and redefine them and use them for a different purpose. Okay? You see that that's happened in the religious community. You see this has happened in the political sphere.